Good evening, everyone. We would like to warmly welcome each and every one of you here today, especially our lecturers, our resource person, and our fellow undergraduates. The workshop today will be Developing LinkedIn Profile. So, many of you all would have questions and clarifications as to what exactly is LinkedIn, how to use it effectively for our professional purposes, and what benefits we receive from it. Unlike other social media platforms, LinkedIn is a professional social media platform which is vastly used in the corporate world where you can exhibit your skills, expertise, and experience for recruitment and other professional purposes. The program is organized as the first step of Revolutionary Commerce 101, which is introduced by the Students Association of Commerce of the Department of Commerce and Financial Management for the first time. The objective of Commerce 101 is to give an exposure and cater the topics related to commerce, which would ultimately assist our undergraduates in employment opportunities, academic purposes, and as well as in other activities. We conduct webinars, seminars, and workshops under this project in order to enhance the knowledge about commerce to our undergraduates. So with this, we commence the charter year for the Students Association of Commerce. Without further ado, I would like to invite our resource person for the day, Ms. Keshavi Puswevar. She is the HR business partner and corporate function R&D employee brand lead at Unilever Sri Lanka. Ms. Keshavi, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot. Firstly, can you guys hear me? Can everyone hear me well? Okay,
Yes.
great. 1 second. So before I start, I just do a couple of checks. First, I would want to check whether I should be doing this session in 100% English or 100% Sinhala, or should I do this session in mix of Sinhala and English? How do you guys want me to do this? Should it be, should I use both languages? How should it be? You guys tell me, because in the end of the day, it's for you, not for me. You know, there's a chat this side. I love seeing this chat active. I don't like empty chat box. So what if you guys start using your fingers, you know, start typing something there in the chat box telling madam, okay, Sinhala, Emnatang English, whatever. You know, I would like to see, oh, either unmute and tell English or Sinhala. How do you want me to go about it? You want me to do it in English or Sinhala, or you want me to use both the languages? Tell me, talk, 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 talk. I would like you guys to talk. At least write it in the chat box.
These guys are quite used to using the chat box with us.
Yeah, both languages.
Okay.
Thank you, Sindhuja. Okay. Because in the end of the day, after I finish this session, you shouldn't be feeling, oh, I didn't understand what she was talking about. Yeah. It's very important that you should raise your concerns. Yeah. So before I start, I know it's 6:38 in the evening and it's after a long day. Did you guys have lectures in the morning? There are 142 people here, so I would like to hear something. Did you guys have lectures in the morning or
Yes,
Yes,
yeah?
yes.
Okay,
Yes,
so how
madam.
are you guys feeling? Did you guys have a good day today? Yes or no? Did you guys have a good breakfast and lunch, and are you guys feeling tired by now? Feeling good?
Yeah, feeling
Yes,
good.
madam.
Good. So if I ask if there's a scale from 0 to 10, where is your energy? If 0 is the lowest energy, 10 is the best energy, where is your energy? Is it 0 or is it 10? Is it 7 or is it 6 or 5? Where are you? I'm at like 7, 8. I was in a training program. I can understand. I was like in a lecture the whole day today. I'm these days sitting in a training program called Certified Agility Training Program. I'm sitting for a certification of 24 hours. So today we had 6 hours training, and since 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock, I'm sitting for that. I'm very tired. So I'm at like 7 o'clock energy. Where are you guys now in terms of your energy? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Where are you guys? You can type here, you can tell it to me. I like to talk. I will not do the session if I don't hear your voices. Tell me. But what about, like, type here, where's your energy? If 0 is the lowest, 10 is the maximum. Where are you guys? 6. Okay, 8. Okay, 8, 8, 7. Okay, yeah. Okay, good. So you guys are at the top quartile, more or less. Not bad for like 6:40 in the evening, no? Hondaine. It's a good time to have a cup of tea, neither. Take a kutadaga it's a good session. Okay, fine. So you guys want me to start with LinkedIn, or you guys want me to start it to discuss about social etiquette and email stuff? What do you want me to start off with? What do you want to talk about first? I'm very democratic, you know. I would like to discuss what you guys want first. What do you want me to do first? LinkedIn? Yeah? Is it that LinkedIn is what you want first? LinkedIn. Okay. So shall I go ahead with LinkedIn? Do you agree with Achala and Tisarani? Audar is also saying on LinkedIn. So you guys are okay with that? Yeah. Such a silent crowd. No, talk, guys. Great. Okay, lovely. So the more that you guys talk, the more that you guys can get out from me. Yeah, it's very important that this should be a two-way conversation. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to remember your faces and ask tough questions if you ever apply to Unilever or anything like that. No, there's nothing like that. It's going to be a very friendly conversation. This is just from my end to help you guys out. Yeah, if there's anything that you won't be able to understand in terms of LinkedIn or anything related to social etiquette or email writing, just tell me. I'll teach from the beginning itself. Okay. Now tell me, how many of you guys have a LinkedIn profile? I'm gonna ask a lot of questions, so you can't be like, okay, this one will talk and I'm gonna sit aside. No, because I know very well you guys will be highly distracted looking at phones and going through Facebook and all that games playing and stuff. It can't be done. Tell me, how many of you guys have LinkedIn profiles? Yes or no? See, I'm very happy someone is utilizing this reaction methodology. What about using the reaction? Hands up. You can use this reaction. Say hands up karanda puluwan. Yes, Hari, hands up karanda. Hari mock hari karanda. See, good boys and girls. Yeah. So okay. Okay. So ඔය ඔක්කොටම තියෙනවනේ ඉතින් මොකටද දැන් මගෙන් මේ LinkedIn එක දැන් අහගන්න? Why do you guys now own LinkedIn? Tell me. All of you guys have it? No, more than 60% have LinkedIn. Now, what do you want to know from me? What do you guys want to know from me? I would like to know. Why don't you guys unmute and just talk something? Doesn't have to be in English. Mama Sinhala kata karane. Sinhalin kata karamu, English waliin kata karamu. Let's have a conversation. I love to have a conversation. I went to Javadanapur University, Sahodara University. කියන්න මොනවද ඔයගොල්ලන්ට දැනගන්න ඕන LinkedIn එක ගැන? දැන් ගොඩක් අයට තියෙනවානේ. What do you want to know about LinkedIn? What was the objective of coming to this session? What was your expectation? What was the key message that you wanted to take out from this session? You can write it here or you can nicely unmute and tell. කවුරුත් කතා කරන්නේ නැහැ නේ. How to use it. Okay. So someone is writing how to use it. Okay. What else? The more that I know your expectation, the more that I can tell. The more that I know why you are here, the more that I can prepare how to share my knowledge. Okay, want to develop the profile. Okay, so you guys want to know how to make it better. Okay, how to help it, how to help yourself to make it better. Okay, okay. What else? What are the benefits? Okay, fine. මම දැන් හැදුවා මන් දන්නේ මේක මොකටද ඇදුවේ කියලා නේද? හරි. Okay. How to create it? හදපු නැති අය දන්නේ මේක හදන්න. හරි. හරි. I need to know the advantage of using it. හැදුවට දන්නේ මොකක්ද මේකේ වැදගත්කම. How to create. හදන්න දන්නෙත් නැහැ. First to overall introduction. මොකක්ද මේක? හරි. හරි basically ඔක්කොම කට්ටිය ඉන්නවා මෙතන. දන්නේ නැහැ හදන්න, හදපු කට්ටිය දන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ හදලා තියෙන්නේ හදපු කට්ටිය මේක තවත් හොඳට හදන්නත් දන්න. So basically end to end. Okay, great. So I will tell from whatever I know about this. Okay, great. Thank you. So all in all, I'll start with the context. Okay, නිදිමත නම් මට කියන්න මට පොඩ්ඩක් නිදිමතයි තව පොඩ්ඩක් slowly කියන්න I can sleep well කියලා, so I will not disturb you guys. So LinkedIn is an HR tool up to a certain extent. It's a like when you want to go for a trip and want to block a hotel, where do you go? These days you don't go anywhere. You go to the room and you sleep because country is in a lockdown. If the country was open, you would go to booking.com or somewhere. And what will you do? You will go and search for a 5-star hotel, whatever. If you had 10,000 rupees, you will go to a hostel or some place and select a place, okay, 3-star, 2-star or something like that. You block for a hotel. You will, based on the budget that you have in your hand and based on the place that you want to go, you will block the place. Or you want to order something, you go to Daraz or you go to Kiehl's supermarket, Kiehl's online or somewhere, and you will block whatever you want to. Yeah, right. Or you go to Unilever. If you want Unilever products, you go to Unilever used store and you block. This is what you do. Now, when it comes to recruitment, we recruiters, we go to LinkedIn when we want to find talent. Just an example. When we want to find talent, sometimes immediate talent, like when we want something faster, that's what we do. We go to Uber Eats to find food faster, right? Now these days, we just go to Uber Eats, we select the place and we order it. We go to Pick Me, we find the cab faster, right? That's what we do these days. And just like that, when we want a talent faster, we go to LinkedIn and we find the talent faster. That's what you should know. That is how good LinkedIn is. That's how important LinkedIn is in the recruitment perspective. Now for you, how important it is going to be is, for you, this is you marketing yourself in terms of employment. That is what you should know basically. It is social media marketing up to a certain extent, social media recruitment for us as recruiters. Yeah, just like you as a consumer go and search for products. Yeah, you as consumers search for products when it comes to whatever you want to buy. We as recruiters, this is the place we go and search for talent. So now I'm just utilizing a product, a place like a booking.com or an amazon.com or a place like Kiehl's or Cargill's or a Uber, because that you can relate easily, because we use filters, right? Now, if it's Uber, when you go to Uber, what do you have? They ask whether you like to eat burgers. So what's in your mind to eat, right? They will ask whether you like to eat burgers or whether you like to eat Chinese or Italian or noodles or whatnot, Indian or whatever. And then whether you eat from 5-star hotels or 3-star hotels or whatever, and the range and the price and halal and or whether it's vegetarian or whatnot. They'll ask all these questions. Just like that, as recruiters, when we want to find talent, they will ask questions. What sort of talent? Graduates, undergraduates, with what skills, with what backgrounds, with volunteering backgrounds, with which project backgrounds, with which diplomas, with what certifications, with what skills, and all of that. Just like we get filters to select 5 stars, whether with balcony or not, for with I'm talking about hotels, with balcony or not, with which price range, with the AC rooms or non-AC rooms, whether it's near to airport or not airport. Likewise, filters for recruiters, we also get those options: what skills, whether voluntary or not, whether this skill or not, whether work experience or not, whether whatever. So basically, you should now get some idea. Now, if your profile, you just created a profile for fun, and your profile is blank, there's no way that when we click those filters, your profile can come up, because your profile doesn't have those required keywords fundamentally. Clear? Are you clear what I'm trying to start at? Is it clear? Yes.
Yes, madam.
Oh no? Yeah?
Yes, madam.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, why you would ask then, why are we not like CV is there? Why LinkedIn? CV is there. Why LinkedIn then? What is this? CV. Now, CV in Sri Lanka, if you look at Sri Lanka, is a developing country, and our technologies is developing. Right now, we as recruiters, we are manually reading CVs. And then as an example, day before yesterday, we closed applications for our Unilever Leadership Internship Program. We got 1,100 odd applications for interns. Now we go through all this manually. Yeah. Now, it takes time. It takes at least 2 to 3 weeks for us to manually go through everything and select people. It takes time, and it's time consuming, and it's a cost. Yeah. Now, nowadays organizations are moving towards ways and means to make things faster. Say today I dropped dead because of COVID or something. Yeah. And then our organization needs someone to replace my job, and they need someone to do my job, and they want to hire someone faster. They might not have the time to wait for like 3 months to hire someone, and they want to hire someone like this, like within 2 weeks or something. And they might not open an application and put a job advertisements and say, we are hiring a HR business partner for corporate functions and R&D and employer brand, and then call up applications and hire. They will just go and headhunt and like find someone from the market who's available. And they will take only 2 weeks to hire from a place like LinkedIn, rather than going through applications and go through CVs and likewise, because it's easy for them, and it's not business disruptions, and it is not a huge cost. Yeah. So usually hiring is it's a costly exercise. A business cost hiring is a costly exercise because it impacts a business, and usually it's a disruption. It brings disruption to business. And there are many ways to hire, guys. I know you guys are in management, and hiring is it's a costly exercise, and there are many methods. Now, one thing is opening applications. Another thing is you put advertisement like in top jobs and in papers. Do you know how much is the cost to put a job advertisement in a paper? What is the rough cost to take a half a page in like our newspaper, like the traditional newspaper advertisement? How much is it usually? Just a guess, how much is half a page? in the paper? Full page at least. At least it will take what? How much? ලංකාදීපේ වගේ පත්තරයකට දාන්න. ඒක ටයිම්ස් එකට දාන්න ඇඩ්වර්ටයිස්මන්ට් එකකට කොච්චරක් විතර යනවද? Any idea? Paper advertisement එකකට යන වියදම? Job advertisement එකකට full page එකට? No idea, guys? 700 rupees or 700,000?
I guess should be around 700,000 at least based on the colors, number of colors you use. And again, depends on the English medium and the Sinhala medium.
Yeah. So usually it is around, so it's actually, if it is weekend, it up to 1 million, it depends.
Yes.
It depends. So it's a huge waste of money nowadays in the traditional media, but so that's a huge cost, just for your information. Yeah. So and there's so that is one method. Traditional media, if you go and put advertisement, that's the cost. Social media, the target market is different. How the social media balane taruna kattiya. And sometimes it doesn't reach to the right target market. So maybe pathareta dandama wenawa samahara advertisement because it doesn't reach to the right target market who should be applying. Then there's another method called headhunting. There are a set of people, headhunting and bella kapana නෙමෙයි, headhunters la කියලා segment එකක් ඉන්නවා. They will go and find people who will reach out to on behalf of your company. They will reach out to the right candidate, but we have to pay their first month salary or 2 months salary as the fee. That's also a cost. But a place like a LinkedIn, when the recruiter subscription is like around $100 or less than $100 per month, which is very low cost for a company. So therefore, this is a very low cost option and a very fast option. And the more that talent is there in the place like LinkedIn, it's like for an undergraduate, it's like a 24/7 career fair. You know, I would define it like a 24/7 career fair for you. It's just that you need to be quite smart, how you need to manage your status there, what you need to do there, and how you need to maintain your profile there. And you need to be smart in the way that you maintain. And this is the future as we speak in 23rd of June 2021. This is the marketplace, but you never know, in 2 years, 3 years down the line, there can be better players. But right now, LinkedIn is the player in terms of talent marketplace. And this is the place that almost all the recruiters go and look for talent. And this is the place that we turn up to see and search for talent. And this is a good place for you to start building your professional network as well as your professional stature. So are you clear about the context up to a certain extent? Any questions by far? I won't move until you guys confirm that you guys are clear or not clear. Is it clear? Okay.
Is it similar to freelancer app?
Sorry?
Is it similar to freelancer app?
It's not like a freelancing site, Elma. That's what you're asking, right? It's like freelancing. Ekane dahane?
Yes.
No. This is not like a freelancing site. Freelancing site is where you can go and get jobs. No. So this is 100% publishing your professionals. It's like basically your professional network. This is creating a professional network. Freelancing site is where you can be paid in a period. Say as an example, if you go to Upwork or you go to freelancing site like a freelancer.com or fiverr.com, you say I will charge $5 or like $50 or $60 per hour for whatever this. If I'm good at typewriting, or I'm good at article writing, or I am good at graphic designing, I will charge $5 per hour. That's what you would say in a freelancing site. Yeah. But in
Yes,
LinkedIn, you
ma'am.
can't be doing that. In LinkedIn, you can't be saying I'll be charging $5 for this or something like that. You can't be doing that. Basically, you are showcasing your professional profile. You can say I'm a freelancer in Upwork, and you can say you are doing the projects as a freelancer, and probably your best work, say you have done the biggest project, like one of the biggest project that you have done in your freelancing career, can be showcased as one of the projects, but not that now I am doing this project. You can't bid for projects in LinkedIn, unless of course someone DM you separately and say, what, can you do this project for me? That's a separate conversation that you would have. But this is not a place where they will give you a contract and you sign contracts and there's a bidding going on. Yeah, clear?
Yeah, madam. Thank
Okay,
you.
great. Are there any other questions? Get clarification. Get clarification before I move on. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, I'll move on to the slide. Now, this is not rocket science. You guys have passed one of the toughest exams in the world, which is A levels. So making this profile is not at all tough. It's one of the easiest things that you can do. Now, professional brand is very important for you, because see, a professional brand gives you a lifestyle up to a certain extent. It gives you a persona. It gives you some sort of confidence like when you have your professional brand. Now when someone tells that I work at Unilever, and she is an HR business partner and she leads this, it gives me some sort of a recognition in the society, and it gives me some sort of a reputation. My mother or my father or even my siblings would love to say that this person works for this company, this person does this works. And if someone refers to me and say, you know what, you can go and ask her about this, that gives you some sort of credibility and reliability in the society. That all comes because of your professional brand. Yeah. So therefore, professional brand creates new opportunities. Now, as an example, just because of what I probably sometimes the things that I would do for all of you, you never know, there can be opportunities that can that can come to me, because of the expertise that I would bring in. Just it's same for you. Maybe you might never know that it is coming to you just because of your professional brand, not because of anything. Why it happens? Because it creates referrals. Say you do some work for someone, and then that person discuss about it with another person and another person, like that it creates referrals. And then it create credibility, because the way that you do it, um, and if you have done it with lot of rigor, passion, enthusiasm, and with lot of accountability and responsibility, and lot of genuine, and with lot of care, it gives you credibility. And then it attracts new business contracts. That is how you drive your professional brand. And when you are an undergraduate, when you are starting your career, you need to put an effort. You need to put some time and energy to it, because that's how you build your career. Yeah. And while you are building your career, you build your career this way when you are working physically somewhere at an office place. Now, in a virtual world, and in a way that in a world that where we are working in a hybrid model, where you're working at an office space, and at the same time you might be working in a virtual place, it's very important that this credibility, this professional brand that you are creating for yourself, you create it for yourself in the virtual space as well. Social media, as well as professional spaces like LinkedIn. Yeah. Now, social media means LinkedIn, say Facebook or Instagram, the way that you manage, the way that you want to manage it, it's up to you, to be honest. I mean, doesn't mean that you need to be fake. It has, you can be vulnerable the way that you want it to be, but it is up to you how you want to manage it for your own, or for your own self. Especially when it comes to a space like LinkedIn, you cannot manage this space like the way that you manage Instagram or Snapchat or Facebook. This is 100% uh, professional space. Almost everyone who's here are professionals, and you cannot manage this space like you would manage a place like a TikTok or a Facebook or Instagram. Yeah, it's very important that you remember this. Now there are 6 simple steps that I will mention for you to think about. These 6 simple steps, this particular deck was shared with us by the global LinkedIn team. Unilever works very closely with the global LinkedIn team because we are one of the biggest LinkedIn teams. We work very closely with the LinkedIn team. We have a very big portfolio. So this deck they shared, and the information that they shared, very interesting information. So I'll share it with you. It's just, you know, take time and work around it. Not too tough. Very simple stuff. So the first thing is adding a professional photo. I don't think it's a tough thing to do. Make sure that the photograph that you are applying, that you are adding, it's a professional photograph. Now I have seen our undergraduates tend to update photographs that can be a little bit funny sometimes. Your funky selfies, which you would have taken, I don't know, at weddings or, you know, parties or somewhere. But I guess as this is a professional space, take a, you know, take something nice, a professional photograph that showcase your personality, your characteristics, and more or less a photograph that is above your shoulders. You don't have to put a photograph from head to toe. It doesn't require to be that way. Yeah, so this, as I reminded you again, now this is a place that's managed by a machine language, and it is said that 14 times more likely to be viewed if we have a photograph. It's driven in machine language methodology, I guess. So more or less, if there are no photographs, what it says is that more likely your profile might not come to the top. So have a photograph. It's not tough. I don't think it is too tough for you to do this. And make sure that you update a proper photograph and something that's nice. Okay, this is very clear. I think I don't have to explain this too much. Second thing is, this is just an example. When you search someone, you see people with photograph come to top, people without photographs come to the bottom. So it's just an example. Yeah. Now, second thing is writing an attention grabbing headline. Now, this is quite important. Now, attention grabbing headline, our undergraduates, there's a tendency that some of you in these days, some of undergraduates write, lost the job due to COVID, lost my internship due to COVID, certain stuff like that. My request is, please don't write things like that. Yeah, don't showcase your desperation in these places. Maybe this is okay for you to write in social media like Facebook and Instagram to get sympathy, but my request is don't do that in these places. Yeah, I saw one undergraduate has written failed, rejected, what should I do with my life, stuff like that. Don't write these things. Yeah, resilience and thriving is important in life. Quitting is sometimes tough. In a situation like that, you have your family, you have your close friends, your coaches, mentors, your lecturers to support you. Don't go to the world and discuss about these things, and social media is not the best place because it leaves information. This place will have this information for a very long time. So don't try to get attention, get sympathy, and share your every problem. It's my personal perspective. I mean, one can say that, no, I want to share my personal problems, please go ahead, but no, this is not the best place to do so. and not the attention grabbing headline. Yeah. Another way that you can use this headline is either you can say, as an example, if you are an intern somewhere, say intern at some other place, you can write that as the attention grabbing headline. If you are working as a junior manager or an assistant manager, something like that, you can put that as well. But my advice would be, if you're an undergraduate, rather than putting undergraduate of University of Kelaniya, you can put something little bit differently. Say, as an example, you are a marketer. Say you want to be a marketeer in the future. You can put aspiring future marketer, dreaming of building future consumer businesses or something like that, or aspiring finance manager uh, in building I don't know, investment opportunities, more investment opportunities or something like that. If you want to be an HR manager, HR undergraduate learning to unlock potential of human capacity in the future or something like that. Some a beautiful a different I don't know how I would say, a headline that can unlock a unique nature of yourself, if it's possible. I mean, you can just type HR undergraduate or something, but if you can figure out one or two traits of yourself, say you are an undergraduate but you are creative, at the same time you are passionate. If you can couple all these things together and write at a headline, a passionate HR undergraduate creating uh, m- uh, moments or something like that, I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud. So as an example, you see under my name and under Chatura's name, you are seeing our purpose statements. So my purpose statements is playing with Rubik cubes of happiness, and Chatura's is leading the world to new dimensions. But Ranga has just put reward manager Sri Lanka. Now for you, I'm just suggesting, think about it, how you would like to showcase yourself, give some more information about yourself by putting something different. Think about yourself, maybe 3 words you can put, say passionate, enthusiastic and creative, or problem solver, decision maker and a leader, something like that. Think something about yourself and try to bring it out in this attention grabbing headline. That would be my second advice. Third segment is draft a compelling summary. This summary is very important for you. This summary shouldn't be having buzzwords. It's not about having the most complex and most classic set of words. It should not be, it's not about having most classic set of words. It's about having sort of, it's about having a summary that has all the required words which will help you to be someone who can come up in a search when we search for you. If we are searching for an intern who we want to be hired to our company, when we search for you, you should be the one who should be popping up in our searches. But that, say as an example, you are an undergraduate, and we are looking for an HR undergraduate. And when we search for an HR undergraduate, and if you have put the right keywords in your profile, and if those keywords match to the keywords that we are looking for, you should be coming to the you should be popping up in our search when we do our searches. So therefore, in your summary, you should be using the right keywords, not the buzzwords. Now, how do you find these keywords? How do you find these keywords? It depends on the function that you want to get into, and the career that you want to be the career that you want to start. So as an example, say you want to be in HR, then you need to understand what are the keywords that's required for HR. So for that, you need to do some homework. Yeah. So maybe what you can do is to go and read couple of papers, say 4 or 5 Saturday, Sunday times Sunday Times or something like that, and go through the job advertisements and start highlighting the words that's popping out quite often, and identify what are the keywords that's coming out for that particular job. Say if it's HR, you would say talent attraction, talent development, talent management, training and development, inclusion, diversity, employer branding, recruitment, performance management, listening, empathy. These are some words. If it is marketing, it's consumer, creative, leadership, then data driven marketing, digital, and words like that. If it is finance, you have accounting, auditing, Power BI, analytics, Excel, then management accounting, financial accounting, SEMA. Think about the words that relates to that particular function that you want to specialize into, or the department that you want to get into, or the function that you want to get into, or the industry that you want to get into, and think about a summary where you can incorporate these words and write that summary. Now, as an example, this is a summary that you can see of Colleen. One second, Colleen Michelle. Now, she has written a summary here. She says, working at LinkedIn, I'm able to combine my experience in recruiting with my love of sharing knowledge to help recruiters become more successful. So she's writing, in my spare time, I love to educate candidates how to maximize their job search by teaching them the tools available and helping them interviewing skills, and they are ultimately able to find the next growth step in the career. So such words like careers, candidates, interviewing skills, recruiting, yeah, recruiters, LinkedIn, so see some of so for like, it depends again what is the state that you are in your career. So as an example, if Colleen Mitchell is not in a place right now to leave LinkedIn and she's quite happy in the organization, there's no need for her to update it in such a state for her to get recognized in a and get get highlighted in a search engine, in a search. So she can be very smart in a way, like to have a summary in a very simple manner. But if you really want to put all your cards to the table on the table and get highlighted as much as you want, then you can make sure that you highlight the keywords in a very smart manner and plan it out accordingly. But for that, you need to do your homework well, so that it will help you. It'll help you to get highlighted in a search. Okay. By far, are you all clear? I have covered 3 areas: have a photograph, have a compelling headline. Third one is the summary. Are you guys clear? Any question by far? Okay, no question. So I'm going to the fourth one. So the fourth one is, if you have work experience, it's very important that you update your work experience, because most of the time we look for work experience, even when it comes to internships. If someone has even like 3 months work experience, it makes sense. I know for a fact most of the undergraduates might not have work experience, so it's okay. But if you have work experience, it makes a lot of difference. And when it comes to updating work experience, it's important that you update the impact that you have brought to an organization. It's rather than updating the job description of the job that you have done. It's important that you update what you have done in the job. So it says that 12 times more likely to be waived if you have updated your work experiences. Now I'll take look at the example here. This particular guy, that whoever who has updated here, he has updated this so beautifully, because this person has ensured that no one will miss him if someone is looking for a consultant in terms of recruitment. If I go and search for a consultant in recruitment, and I need someone, and this person will come for on top, because the way that he has written it, look at it. He has written, as a strategic recruitment product consultant and LinkedIn, I'm committed to helping our strategic clients attract, recruit, and hire top talent. Now, usually in a job, in recruitment job, the main job required: attract, recruit, and hire. This is one of the three main elements that we look for. Then he says this goal is accomplished by understanding each client's unique recruitment and employment branding challenges. So he has covered employment branding, which is another niche skill. Then he's telling, then developing a customized solution to positively affect change with the organization. I work closely with talent acquisition, website design, employment branding, marketing, to ensure each client's suite of products are maximized to the fullest. Additionally, I drive customer adoption of existing SaaS product lines, as well as new product releases in tandem with our product. So look at this person's, the way that he has written. He's putting customized solution. He's talking about SaaS product lines. He's talking about employment branding. This person is the ideal recruitment manager that I want to hire, and he will come in the top if I search for a recruitment manager candidate. Now, the way that you would want to write your experience makes a lot of sense. Even if you are an intern who has worked for 6 months in a company, the way that you articulate what you have done in your organization will make a huge difference. So therefore, whatever you have done, you need to update it properly. Say, as an example, if you were an intern who worked for a brand department for 6 months somewhere, if, say, as an example, you can write, as an intern, I worked 6 months in as a brand as a brand assistant. In the 6 months I worked as a brand assistant, and I worked no, I launched I took part in 6 product launch activities, which enabled me to work with um, providing customized solutions for, I don't know, many stakeholders, and helped me to develop my uh, uh, communication skills, public speaking skills. I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud. um, it depends on the project that you have to work on. Like if it's HR, I can easily tell. Say, as an example, as an HR intern, I have worked on landing 16 training programs in the last 6 months, which enabled me in getting 4 out of 5 average customer satisfaction across the company. And for me, in the last 6 months, I have worked closely with the talent acquisition team, employer brand team, and enabled me to learn couple of platforms such as Workday and Talio, as well as Concur and Ariba, something like that. So it depends on how you want to write it. Yeah. And all the time you need to write what you have done, and at the same time what impact that you brought to the table. And it'll help you when you write it with the keywords. So now, how do you find the keywords? Again, I'm reminding, go to paper articles, look at the job advertisements, and highlight the words that's popping up quite often in all the job advertisements that relates to the field that you are going to work for, and understand what makes sense. And probably maybe you can sit as group of friends and try to understand it, and maybe go and talk to a senior lecturer, or maybe go and talk to a senior senior student who's working already somewhere in a company, or maybe a coach or a mentor who is already working in this particular field, where you can understand what are the keywords, how do you want to update, and maybe get some advice whether you have updated. Or else another thing that you can do is to um, think of like people who are very successful in this particular field that you want to work for, and go and look at their LinkedIn pages and stuff and see what they have done. Or maybe even the people who are really great in this particular field, not Sri Lankans, but maybe senior CEOs of other companies. Say as an example, if it's HR, go and check Lena Nayar's profile and see how she has updated a profile, and start reading these things. And then maybe look at the keywords that she has used in her profile, and maybe another CHRO in another company, couple of CHROs in other companies in the world, and maybe use those words. Do your homework. Don't wait until we do it through sessions. Okay. Fifth one is to add skills. Now, adding skills is very important because because we also search through skills. Like I mentioned, when we go to booking.com and search by price and by the number of rooms or by the number of stars, we also search by skills. And another thing, the interesting thing with skill is that, now say you created a profile today, and when you create a profile, if no one visits your profile, you don't get endorsements. So that means you need to be active in the profile for people to come and endorse you for that skill. So if you are not active in the profile, no one will visit your profile. That means you will not get endorsements from people. So that is why you can't just create a LinkedIn profile and just wait, because no one will visit your profile. So at least as a set of friends, there are 200 people here, at least set of friends make your profile, and at least visit each other's profiles and start endorsing each other for your own skills, if you know each other. Because usually skills endorsements happens when someone visit your profile. Say if you visit my profile today, there will be a question that will pop up on my profile when you visit my profile, asking, do you endorse Keshavi for this particular skill? And if you think that I'm good for this skill, or if you know that I'm good for that particular skill, you can endorse me for that skill. And the more that you get endorsements, the number of that particular skill that you get, the highest endorsement will go up. Yeah. So therefore it is very important that whatever the skills that you select, you get endorsements. Yeah. So the most important thing is that you are active in LinkedIn for you to get this endorsement, and you get more profile visits if you want to get endorsement. So this is the fifth one. Sixth one is volunteer experiences. Having volunteer experiences makes a lot of sense. Now, this is very important as undergraduates, because we know that you don't have work experience. When you don't have work experience, how do we know that you are going to be a good intern, or you can be successful in the internship program that you're going to do with us? Now, how do we know that you are going to be successful is that now what we understand is that someone can be really, give me a second. So the most important thing is, when it comes to volunteer experience, when you are doing a presentation, or when you are working with lot of groups or a team, the important part is that we understand your capacity and the potential. Without understanding your capacity and the potential, we are sort of unable to understand whether you are going to be able to work for a company or not. Now, when you don't have work experience, we anyway can't understand whether you are going to be whether we can do that or not. Now, when we see that you have done extracurricular activities, you have done volunteering, then only we can say that, okay, this person has some sort of experiences. This person might be able to do something for this organization. This person has some capacity, this person has some potential to work, and therefore we see some proof. When we don't see any proof, how can we sort of hire you for any internship program? So this is where we see some proof. Yeah, like as an example, if you don't have any proof for anything, will you say, imagine tomorrow you open your own company and you are trying to hire people for your company, and they come with a blank sheet to you without anything, will you hire that person? And you will ask a question, and they will tell the name and the university, and then you will ask a question, so tell us a situation where you volunteered, and they'll say, I have not done anything. And then you don't have any proof or any instances or any example where you don't know to understand whether this person, even whether this person can even do anything, right? And then when you don't have that information, you are unable to figure it out, right? So that is why you need to update this information, which will help you to which will help the recruiter to figure it out whether you are a good candidate or not. So more or less, these are the 6 things. First, update the photo 14 times. It will help to get you to come to the top. Second thing is the attention grabbing headline. Third thing I mentioned the summary. Fourth thing is the experience. Fifth is the skills. Sixth is the experiences and the courses. So these are the 6 things that you need to update. And this is more than enough for you to know. Most important thing is throughout the profile, what you need to do is to have your the right words needs to be there, because as I mentioned, this is a filtering game. This is a word game. This is an algorithm, this is basically an algorithm that's going. This is a machine that is doing some work for us, and machine should understand the machine language, not the human language. So machine language will do what we tell. So we'll go and tell, can you find this person for us? And machine will go and say, yes, we will find this person for you. But the machine will try to find this person with the words that we provide, and they will try to match the words that you provide. So you need to be smarter, like the machine. So for you to be smarter, you need to do your homework and be ready. So apart from being smart like that, one thing that you need to do is that you need to be ready. You need to connect to the right places, right companies, right people, influencers, right organizations, right managers across the world, chairmen, founders, CEOs, professionals across the world, and LinkedIn influencers. So follow these people, follow the companies that you want to work for, follow the managers that you want to work for, write and share updates, do write posts, write updates, because it's extremely important that you do all these things, because otherwise your profile will not get the right visits. If you don't get the right visits, what happens is that you will not get those required endorsements. If you don't get those endorsements, there's no point of having just a profile, because your profile will not come to the top when we search for the talent. And very importantly, one thing you need to understand is, if you ever put an update, if you ever put a comment, you need to have your data at the right place. Say, as an example, if you are going to write an article in LinkedIn, if you are putting a counter argument in LinkedIn, have your facts ready, have your information ready, because you are talking to a senior manager, or maybe even someone who has the information right, or someone probably one day you might be working with, or someone might be your boss one day. So this is not like social media that you are going to write like in Facebook, where people just write whatever they want to write. This is not that place. So whatever you want to write, be mindful in whatever the way that you want to write, and the language that you want want to use, and be very professional, because you never know with whom you are going to end up discussing or are talking to. And that's pretty much it in terms of LinkedIn that I want to highlight. Are there any questions, guys? So I'm just summarizing. LinkedIn is a social platform, but it is more or less it's a platform for recruiters and for you. So this is the platform where you build up your professional network. Recruiters, this is where we find the talent. And in terms of building professional network, it's like a 24/7 career fair for all of you. The most important part is when you're building your LinkedIn profile, it's not a big deal. It's just about putting the right word and the right keyword and updating it in the right way. So there were 6 things that I mentioned. Put in the right photo, put in the right topic, and then updating your summary, updating your work information, your skills, and your voluntary experience, and then following the right people, and make sure that you update it continuously so that you get the right visits, and properly communicating. Yeah, so these are the simple set of things that you need to remember when it comes to LinkedIn. Making the profile is not tough. It is very, 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 very simple. Everything that you need to follow is there. It's just like making Instagram. I think Snapchat is tougher than LinkedIn. I can't do Snapchat. I can't work with Snapchat when I try to work on it. LinkedIn is much, much more easier than Snapchat. But always to remember that LinkedIn is a place full of CEOs or senior managers, then and directors, and all the big people, as well as little people or middle managers. So just that it's a very professional environment. Yeah, that's pretty much it about LinkedIn. Are there any questions, everyone?
Yes, madam. There is a question that how to enhance the safety in LinkedIn account, and are there any security options to such as two-factor authority to reduce the risk of hacking through email?
Yeah, there are a lot of authentication. It has everything. Like no one, I mean, no one can even connect with you if they don't know you. There are a lot of security options. You just have to go and correct it. Enable it accordingly. It has what a two-factor authentication, and even you have two-factor authentication, no one can connect with you unless they say they know you. And there are so many security this thing. And again, even if people know you or don't know you, when they if they talk to you, um uh, yes, there are weird people even in LinkedIn. It's just you have to be very careful as to how you need to address them, because they might be senior people and senior directors in other companies, and you never know, because they can be because this is a very small country and the corporate markets are very well connected, and the language that we use to talk to these people, you need to be very careful and to be very professional all the time. So even LinkedIn is a very professional place. There's a saying, no, there's a saying, right, in this world that are කොටියගේ පුල්ලි වෙනස් වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා කැලේ මාරු කරාට. There are people. So yeah, privacy settings are there, so you just have to go and manage, read it, and you can activate it.
Hello, madam. And there's another question: how to reach a business page?
It's just like, say, as an example, you go and type the company name and then just follow it. I think all the business pages are public. They are not private. Say you go and type Unilever, it's just you can follow. I think you can follow anyone. Connecting is private. Say if you want to connect with me, it's private. But if you want to follow me, it's public. I can choose what article that I want to put public and what I want to put private. So whatever I want to put public, any follower can see. What I want to put private, only connections can see. So I think I have some 5,000 odd followers, if I'm not mistaken. I only saw very recently, but connections less than 1,000. Some like people who I have only selected. So all the companies across the world, you can follow. It's public.
And madam, there is another question. Can we share posts containing other social media links through the linking?
Yeah. As an example, if you go to Harvard Business Review and you say share, they have now Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn also. Like specifically, you can share specific. Now, when you are sharing articles also, you need to see what sort of articles you want to share. It should match the audience. Yeah. Now you need to know the audience that you are sharing with. And like, don't, like, I know sometimes certain people, to get attention, some recruiters I have seen share their very weird photographs, and I have seen some senior managers saying, if you want to attract people, please go and share these pictures in your Facebook. And a very stern comments I have seen for certain people. Now you need to understand, if you are going to share a specific article, first read it. My first advice is to read the article, because if someone is going to comment on that article and ask a question about article, you have to have a point of view about it. You need to know what you are sharing there. It's not like you go to Facebook and put something. This is not the Facebook crowd, by the way. This is LinkedIn. This is the crowd. This is a professional crowd. Now if you are going to share a specific article, maybe it's a technological thing, or this can be it can go both ways. I have seen once one of us, our president, Hindustan Unilever president Sanjeev Mehta, who's a doctor. He put up a video. Hindustan Unilever did this water related project. They created this advertisement about water, uh, like a some beautiful advertisement. It was a beautiful advertisement where they saved like 1 minute of water in Mumbai, and how that 1 minute of water can help some remote village people, something like that. That advertisement, I think more than 90% blasted him, like for that advertisement across in LinkedIn. It was, whereas in social media, other places, it was highly appreciated. In LinkedIn, he got a big blast. It was because they didn't appreciate it. They had a very different perspective, but then later it turned around. But the first day it was a lot of discussion, negativity. We felt really bad. So it depends how people can view it, because this is a very different community. Now when you are putting an article, you need to understand who's the audience who's going to read this article, and then to that audience you are going to share it. Then you first read it and you have your facts ready. Don't put it just for the sake of sharing it. That's my advice. What else? Any question?
Guys, do you have any other questions? Or you can use the chat mode as well.
Yes, yes, excuse me.
Yep.
There is another question. What are the courses freely available for management students and validity of those certificates?
Freely available, there are a lot of courses available, but for a very short time period nowadays. It's like 30 days free or something like that. Now even LinkedIn provide a free period for 30 days, and after that it'll be they'll charge. But the thing is, now when you are doing courses, you need to have an idea why you want to do these courses and what's the importance of doing these courses. Even just having a certificate doesn't make sense. Now, when you come for an interview, the first question we will ask is, if you have 10 certificates, why did you do this? What's the importance of doing this? And probably if someone says, I have done a Python course, we'll ask you to do a Python some logic, show some logic with this. We will give something like that to see whether you have the capability of knowing, translating the theory to practical knowledge. That's what matters, no? So don't think about wasting your money on courses all the time. What importance is whatever you are learning in the university, whether you have the time even to apply that knowledge in real life. That is what matters. You are learning a lot in university, by the way. The problem is whether you guys are utilizing that knowledge even to real life and practical internship programs. Having certifications, having degrees doesn't make sense if that knowledge you are gaining from university or wherever, if you are not using it, if you are not able to use it. Because future of work is not depending on the number, the experiences, is depending on the skills, how you are developing your skill set. How you are developing your skill set, it's by working on it and actually implementing your skill set and activating your skill set. But I don't know whether we have enough opportunities to activate our skill set in real life or even our extracurricular activities. I don't know whether we are doing that. Now, you, as an example, you guys are hardly talking right now, right? This is the opportunity for you to ask questions. That's a skill. It's an opportunity for you to activate speaking skills. You are not activating it. It is an opportunity for you to activate articulating skills. You are not doing it. Now, when you are not doing it, when you have the opportunity, I'm wondering when are you guys doing it? Now, when you don't do that even now, getting a certification doesn't justify. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's not about having the number of certifications. It's about whatever you have, even if it's one or two things, whether you can do it well. There's a question. What is capable meaning? I don't understand the question, Daru. What do you mean cap cap what is capable meaning කියලා අහලා තියෙන්නේ? ඒ කියන්නේ meaning of capability කියන එකද? සිංහලෙන් අහන්න මගේ ප්‍රශ්නේ කවුරු හරි?
Yeah, 304නේ. පුතා හෝ දුව. ඒ ප්‍රශ්න සිංහලෙන් අහන්න කිසිම ගැටලුවක් නැහැ. අපිට අවශ්‍ය වෙන්නේ sannivedanaya කරන්න. වැදගත් වෙන්නේ භාෂාව නෙවෙයි sannivedanaya කිරීම. Right? So එක
capable කියන්නේ හැකියාව. මොකක් හරි capable කියන්නේ හැකියාව. මොකක් හරි දෙයක් කරන්න තියෙන හැකියාව. අපිට දැන් උදාහරණයක් විදිහට අපිට දැන් පොතක ලියලා තියෙනවා නම් තේ එකක් හදන විදිහ පොතේ තියෙන විදිහ දැනගෙන කොච්චර තිබ්බත් වැඩක් නැහැ. පොතේ ලස්සනට highlight කරලා තේක හදන්න ඕන මෙහෙමයි. තේකොළ හැන්දයි. වතුර මිලිලීටර් මෙච්චරයි. සීනි මෙච්චරයි. ඒක උණු වතුර මෙච්චරක් තියෙන්න ඕන කියලා මේ green tea වලින් මෙහෙමයි, කොළ තේ වලින් මෙහෙමයි, වටවල තේ වලින් මෙහෙමයි, ලිප්ටන් වලින් මෙහෙමයි කියලා පිටු 5ක තේකොළ තේ වර්ග 5ක් හදන විදිය තියාගෙන වැඩ නැහැ. ඒක හදන්න බැරි නම්. හරි. තේ එකක් හදන්න ඩිග්‍රී 5ක් තිබ්බත් වැඩක් නැහැ. තේ එක 7ටම හදාගන්න බැරි නම්. එතකොට capability කියලා කියන්නේ අපි කොච්චර ඔය free තියෙන available තියෙන මොනම certifications ගත්තත් වැඩක් නැහැ. ඒ එක certification එකකින්වත් එන knowledge එක අපිට ඒක translate කරන්න බැරි නම් ඇත්ත අපි මොකක් හරි කරන වැඩකට translate කරන්න හැකියාවක් නැත්නම් ඒකේ වැඩක් නැහැ. කොච්චර ඩිග්‍රී එක නිසා මම කියන්නේ අපිට මේ කැම්පස් එකෙන් ෆ්‍රී එඩියුකේෂන් එකක් හම්බ වෙනවනේ. අපි සල්ලි වියදම් කරන්නේ නැතුව අපිට එන හරි වැදගත් එඩියුකේෂන් එකක් අපිට හම්බ වෙනවනේ. ඒ හම්බෙන එඩියුකේෂන් එකෙන් එන දැනුම කොහොම හරි ඒක ඇත්ත ජීවිතේට අපි කොහොමද මේවා වැදගත් කරගන්නේ? එහෙම නැත්නම් අපේ රස්සාවට කොහොමද ඒක ට්‍රාන්ස්ලේට් කරගන්නේ කියන එක ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඒක වැදගත් වෙනවා. මේ ගොඩක් සර්ටිෆිකේෂන් එකතු කරගන්නවට වඩා. හැබැයි කාට හරි හැකියාවක් තියෙනවා නම් වැඩිපුර සර්ටිෆිකේෂන්ස් අරගෙන ඒකත් ඉන්කෝපරේට් කරගෙන අප්ලිෆ්ට් කරගන්න no problem at all. තව පොඩි සෙග්මන්ට් එකක් තියෙනවා මට කතා කරන්න. කට්ටිය ඉඳීද සර්?
No worries, Keshavi. Our guys go with 2-hour sessions than this, listening to our stuff. So your stuff is more interesting, I guess.
Okay. So LinkedIn part එක හරිද? කට්ටියට තේරුණාද?
Miss Keshavi, Sajid here. If you don't mind, I can ask a question. Yeah. Okay. The question I have is now even Facebook is also into this workplace idea, and they are also calling in, these applications for posts and so on and so forth. So they have also, in a way, they are also competing with LinkedIn, and seems to be that the younger generation is kind of moving into that. So I am just asking for your opinion, if that would be the next thing when it comes to now currently the corporate network is mostly on LinkedIn, but the thing is with the younger generation it may change to Facebook, and recruitments may happen from Facebook. And so what's your opinion as an expert in this?
So I'll tell some insights. To be honest, I don't know how it will be in the future, but the last couple of years we have been investing money in digital, and there was a huge drop in Facebook. The growth in Facebook is like 2%, 3%. Younger generation is more or less investing their time in Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok, whereas we see Facebook is more or like my sister's age, or we invest in Facebook where we want parents to see advertisements. Now when it comes to LinkedIn, we saw an increase of 250%, 0% money involvement, 250% of growth within 2 years in Sri Lanka. We have 100,000 odd followers only from Sri Lanka in overall Unilever followers population, 0% in boosting, 0%. So it is, I think that's professional network, but we never know. Things can change overnight in this digital space. We never know. But right now, as we speak today, that's why even before I mentioned 23rd July 2021, LinkedIn stands as the first player there because it has billions of people following. Facebook growth is extremely slow. Like we have not been able to increase our follower base above 50,000 for last 3 years. Whereas we were able to increase up to 100,000 within 2 years in LinkedIn. So that's the difference. How fast it's growing. I think it's because LinkedIn is 100% focused in talent, and it's giving customized solutions. Say as an example, if you try and do the premium LinkedIn offer, just activate 1 month free offer of premium LinkedIn. 1 month premium is free. Yeah, it's just $29 per month or something like that. And if you do that, you can see the benefits you get, how many people look at your profile, who follows you, interview tips, and then jobs available and all of that. And then 1 month premium recruiter profile you can get for free. And if you are a recruiter, how you will see talent. And then 1 month, so there are 4 types of profiles you can get for free per month, 1 month. Only one out of that 4. You can see the support they give. And now as a company, we partner LinkedIn, and I was a part of the global LinkedIn task force some time back. And this support, like they have a support in terms of analytics that they provide. So I don't know how it's gonna be, because talent is a huge scarcity. Yeah. And actually as HR we are struggling, because the skill set, half life of skills, it's going down from 10 years to 4 years. Now as an example, we will onboard undergraduates in 2020. By the time they are out by 2024, what they learn in 2020 is not going to be valid in 2024. So that's how scary it's going to be in the future. Half life of skills are going to go away in 4 years, and it's only going to reduce. So therefore, for HR professionals, it's going to be extremely tough to find talent. So these sort of optimizations will be required in the future, and CVs might not do the job. And well, maybe apart from LinkedIn, there will have to have players like maybe Facebook also might take over. Never know. It's so agile and so dramatic, how things change in this technology. This thing cannot predict. So yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, madam, there is another question, that is how to apply to a company through a LinkedIn CV.
It's like a normal CV, I guess, when you download the LinkedIn CV, unless, of course, as an example, if Unilever opens a job, I think automatically it gets published in LinkedIn. If Unilever internally opens a job, if you say publish externally, it automatically get published in LinkedIn. And then you apply. If you have a proper LinkedIn profile, it automatically applies. Otherwise, if that company says apply, you can just share the CV accordingly. So it depends from job to job and how the procedure goes in that particular company. If that particular company has application process and not required a CV, you have to submit an application. And if the company says it's a CV, you can just share the LinkedIn CV, I guess. It depends. It depends, guys. It depends. Any other questions? All clear? Email, etiquette, email. Should I move to that?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So I don't have a presentation for this. It's just a couple of things I will be mentioning. So for social media, actually, the most important thing about social media nowadays is that now, anyway, what's happening right now is students are maintaining many profiles. Yeah. Social media, they have Finstagram and Instagram, fake Instagram and Instagram, and within their families they have their own Instagram profiles, and then to outside world they have another one, fake Instagram, and they have different stuff. So it is very simple. I don't have to tell it. It's just that whatever you maintain, it talks a lot about you. So as recruiters, something that we do is that, especially when it comes to when we onboard our ambassadors. student ambassadors or interns, we actually go and check your Instagram or Facebook profiles, to be honest. It is to see whether you guys are the people that who you talk, who you are in your CV. Because organizations continuously nowadays talk about diversity, inclusion, belongingness, people who talk about well-being, people who are nice and nice human beings. We don't want people who go and kill others and talk about social, trying to make people collide and create social disharmony and all of that. We don't want people like that. And especially a company like ours, we are a multinational organization, and we actually don't want any problems between ethnicities or color or sexualities or religions or anything. If you are someone who creates such a problem, we don't want to hire you. Yeah. So in that context, when we hire employees or undergraduates or to anyone, we actually do check whether you create those sort of conversations. So probably what you want to choose, probably you might be hiding, but something that you need to maintain about your social this thing is that it's something that everyone it's your choice, I guess. It's your choice about what you want to talk, what is it's our bhashane nidhasa kiyala tiyanawa. That's what you want to choice, but then it depends on which the company. A company also has its choice who they want to hire. Yeah. So if my advice would be, then if you want to apply for an organization, just always double check whether that particular organization value system and your value system just makes sense. Whether you can be yourself in that organization, and if you can't be yourself in that organization, then rather don't apply for to that company, because then you are not yourself. So that is the first I think that's the first prerequisite to understand before applying to any company. Make sure that you do check what are the value systems, what's the culture is like, what sort of a company that is, and then apply, so that you don't have to worry and we don't also have to worry in hiring you. But we usually do a check as to whether you are the right person that we want to hire, because more importantly, we want to hire the right human being, just like we want to hire the right talent who has a capabilities and competencies. At the same time, the right human being who has the right set of values and behaviors that matters to the organization. So social media perspective, that's all actually we want to talk about, and who is very respectful, as well as who actually empathizes others. That's the most important thing. The other thing is, when you become interns, if you are a part of an organization, it's very good to be a part of big organizations. And one thing that you need to be very careful is that when you get into an internship, or when you become a part of an organization, you get to sign a code of policies, or you be a part of that organization, you sign certain policies or contracts. Yeah. Now when you sign off these policies or contracts, these are terminatable contracts. So as an example, if you breach these contracts, you get terminated from the company. That is not a great thing if you get terminated. So and it's not so good to get terminated if you breach certain regulations. And we are in a very small market. We are in Sri Lanka, and we are stuck in Colombo and like these little cities, and everyone get to know because it's a network, like a web. We know our senior managers who have been to other companies, and it's a very knitted family, like sort of everyone knows everyone. So make sure that in sensitive data that you get to know, say you are going to be, say you come to Unilever, and if you are part of Unilever, you are an intern, and you get to know what are the new brands that's going to get launched, or new product variations that's going to come out. That is common information. If you get even you are an intern, that comes out. And you can't be going and talking about this in your social media, telling everyone and showing photographs of the company, and taking pictures of the place and showing that what I am doing this, and look at this. And likewise, you can't be publishing this information in social media irresponsibly, maybe knowing or unknowingly, because you like to take selfies and that and this, you might be doing this because there are certain games also nowadays where you do it publicly. And I know there are certain games like that people, some of our interns used to play, where you do take photos and stuff like that, and do be very careful, because if a sensitive information goes out through social media and you do these things, you can be terminated, and sometimes it can get into a situation, it can get in inquiry level, and it can get into even courts. So you need to be very, very careful. These are not simple things. When you get into an organization, you are in a professional context. It's not like you are in university, or we are on the road and taking photographs and putting things likewise. So always you ask your seniors whether you can even take a photographs in certain places and publish it in Facebook. And whether it is required, whether it's okay, whether can you even take a photograph of a presentation and publish it in Facebook, whether when you are sitting in a presentation. Sometimes in offices, certain town hall meetings, whether company meetings, you can't take presentation photographs and publish it in Facebook, because they are confidential, strictly confidential and internal presentation. So you can't do those sort of stuff. If you are going to a factory space and you are a part of factory, you can't take photographs of factory lines and sometimes put photographs. So to be very, very careful of these things when you get into an organization. And those are the 2-3 things that I wanted to highlight. Nothing much on social media. I guess when you get into a company, you will learn the culture of that place, and anyway they will give the required guidelines and the inputs for you to understand what is most important, and how you need to behave there accordingly. But 2 things: prior to joining a company, you need to know that whatever you publish and update, probably people are privy to it, and it talks a lot about you and your character as a person. And if you want to be yourself in a company, so make sure that you search about the company and apply, so that we are not trouble and you're not trouble. Second thing is that when you get into an organization, always read and understand what are the company regulations and rules, so that you know that you are not breaching any regulations of the organization that will not put you into jeopardy and trouble, and we don't have to terminate you. Second thing is the email etiquette. I'm not going to tell too many things, but I just want you to know that when it comes to emails in an organization, always remember you are going to be an intern as a starting point, or a junior manager, or a executive. Now, if you are writing to anyone, first remember one thing. Always think someone who you are writing to is time poor. That the person is poor, and that person is poor with time. And that person, like say as an example, if someone is poor with money, what do? Will we ask for money? We will never ask for money. And what we will do, when we want something, will we go and ask, you will give me like 100,000 rupees or something like that? We never ask that, because we know that person is poor. So we will never ask from that person to give something extra that that person doesn't have. So always think, when you are writing an email, the other person who is going to read that email is poor with time, so that you will always remember that your mail should be crisp and clear, as well as it should be something that's effective and productive and shorter as much as possible, so that it's not too complicated. And that person is poor with time is the poor factor. So that person has very limited time. As soon as the person read it, that person has to understand it, and it is short. So that is the advice that I got from my boss actually back then, when I used to write very complicated emails. I am a science graduate. I have a tendency to write everything, and I had a tendency to write very complicated stuff. I did physics, chemistry, and polymer, and I write very, I write everything. I write history, present, future, everything, so that I make sure that they understand everything, thinking that people don't understand. And then at one point, my boss told me that, think I am poor and my time, I am poor with time, and write in simplest form so that I don't have to waste too much of time. And that's the fundamental of writing an email. So that is the advice that I wanted to give you guys in terms of email etiquette, because it's important that a shortened email can help someone to grasp something faster. And second thing about email, the first thing, I'm only telling 3 things because I can't tell a lot of things about email etiquette. First thing is making it short. So thinking about the person who's going to read is poor with time, and keeping your email short and crisp. So keep that in mind. Second thing is that when you are writing and when you are handling emails, always make sure that you have a very strong attention grabbing headline. Just like I mentioned, that headline, when you are putting in LinkedIn, that headline makes a lot of sense. So if that headline is not so attention grabbing, most of the time there's a tendency that in companies your mail is forgotten. Like if it is not urgent, um, uh, if it's really urgent, mentioning that it's urgent and closing date is tomorrow, deadline is this or something like that, mentioning that helps. So always have a very strong headline which helps in getting the attention at the right stance. So attention grabbing headline makes a lot of sense. So have a very strong attention grabbing headline that makes a lot of sense. That's the second thing that I wanted to highlight. So the first thing is always think that the person who reads the email is poor with time. And so therefore you try to write a short email and a very clear, crisp email. As my manager always tell, write an email with the size of a credit card. Sometimes it's extremely tough to write an email, credit card size email, which is extremely short. So it actually helps us to think and make it shorter and crisp and clear. And most of the time when we write short emails with the right essence, she appreciates it. Second thing is attention grabbing headline. Third thing is that articulation of an email. So articulation, it's about how you want to write your email. How do you want to articulate your email? Now it is something that you have to write and more or less prepare. So it is about the words that you want to use. It is about what sort of words that you want to put out there. Say as an example, uh, if it is a motivational email, how do you want to use the words in that motivational email? What sort of words that can attract the crowd? If it is about investments, if it's an investment for someone, how do you want to use the words? Those are the key words that you want to use, and how, whether you want to highlight those words, underline those words. Say as an example, if it's a deadline, so what are the 3 words that people need to remember in the mails, and how you want to place the words is the third thing. But not too much, because ඔයගොල්ලෝ තොරණක් දැක්කොත් කවදාවත් තොරණ බලලා ඉවරනකොට ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මතක නැහැනේ තොරණේ පාට කොච්චරක් තිබ්බද, තොරණ කොච්චර නිවිපත් වුණාද කියලා. It's because there's too many things, too many details, never you remember. So always have little amount of details, but make sure that little amount of details are highlighted and that's reminded. So shorter email, clear, clarified, stronger subject line, but that little detail, place it in the right way with the right keywords. Those are the 3 things that I wanted to mention. And that would be pretty much it about the emails that I want to highlight, Mr. Shamal.
Thank you, Keshavi. Any quick questions? If you have anything, guys. ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙන කෙටි ගොඩක් බැරි මම හිතන්නේ කේෂවිට ගොඩක් මහන්සි ඇති මේ දවස්වල සෙෂන්ස් වල ඉඳලා කෙටි ප්‍රශ්නයක් දෙකක් අහන්න අපිට මම හිතන්නේ පුළුවන්. අපි කැමති ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ හඬින්ම අහනවා නම් වැඩියෙන්. එහෙම කවුරු ඉන්නවද ප්‍රශ්නයක් අහන්න කැමති? Nah. Yeah. So shall we wind up then? Sure. Right. Sajid, anything to add? Shall I
No, sir, nothing to add.
Right. Shall I do the merits?
Yes, sir, please.
Right. Okay. I guess on a very short notice, I think Keshavi joined with us to carry out this thing. I guess this initiative to give a kind of a overall view on what's LinkedIn and how to effectively use email. I think it's just been 7 days, I think, or maybe less than 10 days, I guess. I think I got your email from Keshani. She's a third year financial management student of the same department, but unfortunately she can't join today, I think, because they're also having a Bana ceremony going on, sermon going on. So multiple events going on at the same time. Right. So she's an Isaac member. So knowing her, that I asked her whether there is someone that we can work on in this direction. So she said that Unilever had this kind of a program, maybe we can talk to, and I think she had a contact there and she got your email, I think. I think I got your first email was, I think it's a personal email, I think the Gmail. Maybe it got lost somewhere, and I just told Keshani after about 3 or 4 days that I didn't get a reply. Maybe she missed it, or maybe she's somehow lost it or something. It could be maybe busy. Then she, I think, was able to get your official email, I think. That's how I contacted. So I think it's very short notice we were able to get this thing done. I think it's also important that despite we are being in a lockdown and we can't physically connect, that we have to find ways to connect and keep the lives moving on, right? We can't let COVID dictate terms, right? We have to find ways to, move on with it, with whatever it's thrown at us. I guess that's what life is. So I think it's great opportunity. I think that Keshavi joined us on a short notice without much, what do you call, all these formalities of asking of formal letters and stuff that usually go through the rhetoric with some organizations. So it's great to have you on a very short notice, and I hope the students have learned. Guys, can you give us a thumbs up if you have taken something, at least something out of this session? Reactions would be better than saying yes, great job. Takes a lot of time to type. So okay, so I think we get fast feedback nowadays with this reaction stuff, right? So I think everyone has learned. Even I myself has learned few things. I guess picked up few things, all of us. So thank you, Keshavi, for extending your knowledge and experience to us. It's good, I guess, private sector companies also joining hands with the universities to do these kind of social commitments and initiatives rather than letting the university do the entire thing. We can't do that technically. We can't do all this stuff by ourselves. I think there has to be a collaborative platform, and I think Zoom and COVID is in a way has been a blessing in disguise that we can connect people and saving time in terms of traveling. I know how difficult to travel in Colombo during peak times, right? I think we are saving some time and using those things effectively. Okay, so thank you very much, Keshavi. Thank you for the students who have participated, learned from this session. Hopefully you would use social media as well as LinkedIn for your creating your profiles, making attractive profiles for the people to look at your profiles, And I think at the end of the day, the lesson is that you are in a position to be in control with this LinkedIn profile, whether even it's social media. So you have to make the judgment and the decision, how do you want to really use them, right? I think that's what Keshavi told us, right? You are at a position that you can decide what you want to share, right? And it can create a lot of positive networks, right? Links, right? And you will go a long way if you use them right in the right way. So I think that's the message, right? These things would keep on evolving. Whatever you learn today probably would be keep on evolving. By next day, somebody else might comment that some new stuff is going on with the LinkedIn stuff like that. So I think we have to update ourselves. That's what it is, right? So, but we have got a foundation now. You know why it is important as it is now, right? Why it's important for us to learn about LinkedIn, how to use this technology tools. And I think also it's a lesson in HR as well. I think most of you going through HR management subject, how these technology is interfering in a way in the HR sphere for recruitment and stuff like that. You know, how so who will be potential candidates in the future, how to use these tools effectively to portray who you are to these recruiters. That's what I think you have got out of this, right? So thank you, Keshavi. Thank you, Sachit. Thank you, Rasanjan and the team and the students who joined us, right? Hopefully we can connect in the future, right? And carry out more initiatives like this. Our sole purpose is to educate the youth and the future graduates. So thank you very much, Keshavi. Unfortunately, I can't give you any plaques and stuff. Probably you have a lot of plaques as well right now. But a big hug and big thank you. I think that's on my part, I guess.
Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Thank you, Keshu. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Over to you, Sachit.
Yes,
so you can see,
yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir,
sir.
pouring in, I guess.
Yes, I think Sindhuja, if you have planned to wrap up, you can do that. We can just wind up the session, no otherwise.
Yeah, I guess it's okay with Sindhuja may probably missing in action, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. So we can just wrap it up. Yeah.
Thank you, Keshav. Thank you very much.
No problem, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
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 Bye, all. Good night.
Night.